Folks, Black Star Network is here. hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Hey, folks, today is Monday, January 29th, 2024. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network from Stuart, Florida, where I participated in today's Reggie Jackson Mr. October Foundation Celebrity Golf Classic. We'll show you who the winner was, a prominent rapper from H-Town. A California judge has ordered the Los Angeles Police Department to destroy photographs that were taken during a search of the home of a lawyer for a Black Lives Matter leader who has filed a lawsuit against the police department. We'll talk with activist Melina Abdullah, as well as her attorney as well, about this strange development. Folks, a Florida Congresswoman bragging about money that's coming to her district from the infrastructure plan that was passed by President Joe Biden. Slight problem, she voted against it and kept trying to take credit. But the Florida journalist would not let her get away with her lies. Also, folks, we'll tell you how several U.S. historians have filed a brief calling for Donald Trump to be removed from the presidential ballot in violation of the 14th Amendment. Also, Vice President Kamala Harris was speaking today during her giving a speech regarding reproductive freedom, and she was interrupted by protesters, a common occurrence lately for President Biden, even former Speaker Nancy Pelosi. And in Wichita, Kansas, police are searching for the vandals who stole a Jackie Robinson museum, a Jackie Robinson sculpture, sawing off the feet and stealing the rest of the sculpture, folks. So we'll talk about that and other news right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. It's time to bring the funk. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, last week, officers with the Los Angeles Police Department conducted a raid on the home of attorney Dermot Gibbons. He is the attorney for Black Lives Matter movement activist Melina Abdullah. She has filed, of course, a lawsuit against the police department. She's suing them for a 2020 incident where she was forced out of her home at gunpoint after receiving a hoax call about a hostage situation. Now, during this search, Attorney Gibbons saw an officer photographing documents that were left on his kitchen table that were related to the lawsuit. Well, a judge has ordered the LAPD to get rid of the photographs of legal documents that officers allegedly took during the unannounced raid. Joining us right now on Roland Martin Unfiltered is Melina Abdullah and Attorney Dermot Gibbons. Glad to have both of you here. So, Attorney Gibbons, I want to start with you. First of all, why was your home being searched?
That's the mystery we want to get to. They said it didn't have anything to do with me. They allegedly were searching for somebody who stole something, and they were tracking an Apple AirTag that they said was in my home. None of this. They didn't give me a copy of the warrant.
Wait. Hold on. They said they were searching for a person.
Yes.
And they had the Apple AirTag of said person.
No. That's what I asked them. No, they didn't. Well, they can lie, but they told me when I asked, I asked the same questions you would ask. I didn't get an answer.
So, okay. So, did they have a search warrant?
Yes.
Did they give it to you?
They gave me a couple pages of it, not the important part. No. So the answer
I'm sorry.
is no.
You're an attorney. I'm sure you've seen a search warrant before. Yeah. So what did they leave out?
The declaration of what the police said to the judge as to why the judge would sign off on the warrant. That's the lie that we need to find out. What did they say?
So that wasn't a part of what they handed you?
No.
All right. So if they were allegedly looking for a person, did they articulate to you why they were looking for that person? And they said that person stole something? Like what?
I don't know. But they showed me the picture of the person, which I assume was in the warrant, but that's not in the part that they left with me. So I can't show that to you.
So they showed you a picture of the person. Was it a man or a woman they was allegedly looking for?
A young man.
Okay. So if you're looking for a person, why are you photographing things? If you're looking for a person, I would think you are opening doors, going into rooms, looking under the bed for a grown person.
I would assume so, too.
Melina, first of all of this sounds very strange, extremely fishy, especially the part of them photographing items on the table that, just happen to be related to your lawsuit against the LAPD.
Yes, it's beyond strange. It's beyond strange. I don't think it could possibly be coincidental that the attorney who's representing me in an LAPD case for them swatting me was essentially swatted himself, and the information that they collected included photos of my case file. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that it's beyond the realm of coincidence, that it's unimaginable that it would be coincidental, and I think it shows how corrupt LAPD can be, that they swatted the attorney who is suing them on my behalf for swatting me.
It is, this is kind of basic, Attorney Gibbons, and they would do it to an attorney as if you're not smart enough to understand what's going on here.
You never underestimate the stupidity of the police. Let me just say that. As I sit here right now, I can surmise and speculate as to what happened, but as you pointed out, getting that declaration of what the police said to this judge because I hope the judge wasn't that stupid, which can happen because they rubber stamp anything. But there has to be something in that declaration that's the big lie that connected me, my house, to whatever they were doing, which we don't know.
And you lived in your house for 20 years, right?
Over 20 years. They know where I live. That's no. I've sued them, had major cases against them before. For the LAPD to say they don't know, it's like, like Dr. Abdullah. They know where she lives. And to get a warrant.
And then they sent right. First of all, explain to people how that works in order to obtain a warrant.
A police officer has to write down in a declaration and articulate facts that he knows a crime has occurred, and whatever the warrant is for, that this warrant will lead to evidence to solve that crime. Then they have to take that to a judge, which a judge then has to find probable cause that, yes, what this officer said is true and is probable cause that a crime has been committed, and the person or place that they need to search is most probably involved in that crime. Then the judge signs off on a warrant. Then the police can then go execute the warrant. Obviously,
what I'm
as a friend of mine told me, I'm not involved. Otherwise, I would have been arrested. My house wasn't involved. Otherwise, they would have taken evidence out of my house. The only thing they took out of my house were the pictures of Dr. Abdullah's case.
And so if you're looking for a person, why are you ransacking a house? Why are you literally emptying drawers, opening your safe, and going through your briefcase? What was the person hiding in your briefcase?
I couldn't tell how large the person was. All they showed me was a picture. I don't know.
So
that's what we want to ask them.
A spokesman. So a spokesman for the police department, they gave a statement to the either the Associated Press or LA Times. Give me 1 second. Here it is. I love this. So this is an open criminal investigation as well as an internal affairs investigation, according to Captain Kelly Muniz, spokesman for the LAPD. A criminal investigation?
I have no clue. I have no answers.
What's your next step? Are you do you have to file something? Can you demand? Clearly, if they search your house, they have to actually supply you with the actual search warrant. It's been what, 2 or 3 days, and they still haven't done that. They have not given you the full search warrant.
No. And that's what we did on Friday. We went to a judge.
Right.
And that's when the judge ordered them to give it back. So we'll give them a few days, and then we'll, hopefully they'll turn it over.
And if not, would you have to sue them to get it?
No, they're under a court order right now to turn it over. Other than that, they'll be be in contempt of court with the court, and they can be sanctioned.
So when you went to court on Friday, and the judge ordered the documents to be destroyed, first of all, did the judge give a process to do so other than, hey, Scouts honor, we destroyed them?
No, and you're mistaken. They're supposed to turn it over, destroy it, and also give me a copy so I can see what the photos were. So not just destroy it, but also give me a copy of it. The judge, because this is so basic, the judge didn't have to say, go to the police officer who took the pictures and get the camera and get the copies of I mean, it's that basic. But what the city attorney is going to do, obviously there's going to be a lot of cover up in this internal affairs investigation or whatever, and they're going to stonewall or whatever, but eventually we'll get it.
Melina,
and if we don't, that's going to say more for Dr. Melina's case if they don't give it to us.
Right, and that was the point I was about to make. Melina, it's clear the LAPD, first of all, a dozen cops roll up on your attorney's home. Oh, there's a GPS tracker, and we're looking for a Tyler. I mean, come on.
Right. And for them to photograph my case file, right? The damage is done in my view. If they photographed the case file, they've read the case file. That information, they already have the information in the lawsuit against them. It's already tainted. I don't really know how we can make this right. We know the history of policing in LA County. We know that LA County sheriffs refused to destroy photos after the Kobe Bryant helicopter crash, right? That this is something that they do with regularity, is take photos of things that they shouldn't have and then keep them. So I'm sure that they're going to be using it in their side of the case. And I don't know what we could do. How do you prove that something doesn't exist?
Wow. But also in that...
incredible. Well,
Roland, let me say this. Dr. Melina's case is so cut and dry and so strong that they can do whatever they want. We're going to get them.
Thank you. I believe you.
Well, certainly keep us abreast of what happens next. This is certainly unbelievable. And I take it, obviously, y'all have reached out to the police chief and the mayor demanding answers to all of this, correct?
Well, me personally, no, because I wouldn't believe a word they would say to me. Because before they did this investigation, they should have reached out to me and say, "Hey, Mr. Gibbons, something's in your house. Can we come?" You know. But the communication right now is going to be through the court.
The mayor's been informed, but we also are in a situation where the police chief is retiring at the end of the month. So it's very convenient timing for accountability, right? There's no
accountability.
It's on his way out anyway.
All right, then. Dermot, Melina, we appreciate y'all joining us. Keep us abreast of what happens next.
We'll get that warrant. Okay, have a good day.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Get that warrant. Thanks a lot, folks. Got to go to a break. We come back. More on Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network. Check us out, folks. Be sure to download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. And, of course, you can also support us in what we do by joining our Bring the Funk fan club. Send your check and money order. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
Next on The Frequency, we have an incredible conversation with my guest, Nadira Simmons, talking about her new book, First Things First, Hip-Hop Ladies That Changed the Game. The founder of Gumbo Net tells us the stories behind the women in hip-hop, starting with the first woman that promoted the hip-hop party to Megan Thee Stallion. There's even a chapter on me. Thank you so much for including me in there. It's just so
you had to be in there.
That's next on The Frequency on the Black Star Network.
On a next, A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, we're going to be talking about common sense. We think that people have it, know how to use it, but it is something that people often have to learn. The truth is, most of us are not born with it, and we need to teach common sense, embrace it, and give it to those who need it most, our kids.
So I always tell teachers to listen out to what conversations the students are having about what they're getting from social media, and then let's get ahead of it and have the appropriate conversations with them.
On a next, A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, here at Black Star Network.
I'm Paula J. Parker, truly proud on the Proud Family, louder and prouder on Disney+. And you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Oh my God, there is nothing like busting somebody on live television. It's delicious. It's lovely. It's amazing. In Florida, a Republican Congresswoman was thoroughly embarrassed by lying. Maria Elvira Salazar was trying to take credit for infrastructure money coming to her district. Well, Jim DeFeet of CBS Miami station, he was having none of it, and my man took it to her with some basic fundamental facts. This, y'all, is glorious.
Last month, you were at FIU and you presented a check for $650,000 to help small businesses at FIU. But you voted against the bill that gave the money that you then signed a check for and handed and had a photo op, the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2023, right? You voted against that bill.
Right now, you have to give me more details, but I do know that every time I have an opportunity to bring money to my constituents, I do so. I just did $400,000. But look,
but you voted against the Chips and Science Act, right?
Listen, right now I need to ask my staff. But what do we look at the $40 million that I have brought to this community? Aren't you proud of me? Aren't you proud of the $40 million that I brought? But aren't you proud that I wrote the Dignity Act? Haven't I? Let's talk about the Americas Act.
Wait a second. Let me 1 second.
Tell me.
The money that you talk about, the $40 million that you bring back to the district, sometimes that money comes from bills that you voted against. You voted against the CHIPS Act, and yet you praise the fact that the South Florida Climate Resilience Tech Hub is going to be started in Miami, right? You voted against the infrastructure bill, and you talk about all the money that comes back to the airport. So at the same time that you're taking credit for the money that you bring back to the district, in Washington, you're voting against these projects on party line votes.
Listen, that was, I think, last cycle. I cannot really remember right now, but just let's look at the Americas Act, which is what I'm going to. So
you don't want to explain why you voted against things?
I mean, right now, and I'm not trying to be a politician. There's so many bills that I've introduced that I know that many
these are
of
bills
them
that you voted against.
That I understand, but it's okay. Sometimes I vote and sometimes I don't. But let's look at the positive. Let's look at the $40 million that I brought.
I'm not trying to be a politician. It's so many bills I've introduced. Boom. Introducing a bill is not passing a bill. It's not voting for a bill. And I love, I need to consult my staff. You forgot what the hell you voted for and against? No. What this is Republicans in this country lying and trying to take credit for things that they were against. Same thing happened under President Obama. That first stimulus bill, they voted against it, but were then begging for projects to be funded. No, you don't get no credit for that. Then how does this work? This is how they operate. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg of the Department of Transportation. Same thing happened. He called out Speaker Mike Johnson.
People who voted against it show up at ribbon cuttings and stuff.
Oh, and how? I mean, none other than the Speaker of the House. I couldn't believe it. It was Monday or Tuesday. Toured an airport project that I signed off on with a local member of Congress, and neither that local member nor he had voted for the funding that we're using to build the thing. And you know, there's many things you could say about that, but one thing you could say about that is it must be a really great project.
Now, let me remind y'all, and pull her picture back up, Representative Maria Salazar. This is the same trifling woman who would not let Congresswoman Barbara Lee speak during the hearing about Cuba. This is where I have said, Democrats, every single time one of these projects are unveiled and they have talked about the funding, this is where the Democrats should have signs saying, thanks, Joe. Thanks, Kamala. No thanks to Republican Congressman or Senator so-and-so. That's how they should be responding to these folks bragging about money that they opposed, and they want to make it seem like they got it done. My panel joining me right now. I want to introduce them right now. Dr. Julian Malvo, President Emerita, Bennett College, economist and author, joining me out of D.C. Dr. Amakongo Dabinga, Senior, Professorial Lecturer, School of International Service, American University. Renita Shannon, former Georgia State Representative out of Atlanta. Renita, I'll start with you. You're a former state rep. I mean, this to me is beyond hypocrisy. To just be championing, oh my God, these things are wonderful. And I brought back $40 billion. No, your punk ass didn't. You ain't bring back nothing. That was money that was sent there because Democrats voted for it and you didn't.
Right. And I'm sure that she, in her mind, knew that she did not vote for the Consolidated Appropriations Act, which is really just a fancy name for the budget. But to be fair, for representatives, it is totally possible for you to forget how you voted on something. And it's possible for you to fight for something and then have to vote for it later. But and the way that happens is because most bills are a combination of sugar and poison, meaning there's some good things in it that you like, but then there could be some poison pill in it that you're just not willing to vote for. And this happens a lot of times when you're voting on a budget because there's so many line items, there's so many things in it that are both a mix of good and bad. But here's the reason why I'm certain that she knew what her voting record was, because Republicans have made a pattern over the last decade or so of always voting against anything that goes for money to actually help people on the ground. So if I were sitting there, and of course I can't remember every single vote that I have taken, I know my overall patterns. And just like when I served in the General Assembly, a lot of times I did vote against the budget because the Democrats were in the minority and the Republicans were always passing these large budgets that were almost always spending all the money on incarceration and growing the police state. So it's like you said, Roland, I feel certain that she knows that she did not vote for this. She just thought that the reporter was not going to be smart enough to catch her on it and not going to check her on it. And she thought she was going to get away with it. And that did not happen.
But this right here, Amakongo, is the problem with most, and I'm going to say this, a lot of journalists, okay? A lot of these people we see on television, on radio, they are not smart. They don't do any research. They don't double check. And even some of these national shows, they allow these politicians to come on those shows, lie, make claims, and don't push back. Just like when we called out Senator Tim Scott for going on Fox News and lying by saying, oh, President Donald Trump has done more for HBCUs than any other president in history. his ass was lying. And these folks, and look, we know what's going to happen on Fox News. Fox News, they will let people lie. But what Jim DeFeed did here is what every journalist should do. Is like, hold up, let's run this back. Your ass didn't vote for it.
It was a masterclass. I loved it. And I'm telling you, Roland, time and time again on all of these networks, throughout the last, particularly once Trump came into, being in, 2016 or 2015 or whatever, I get so angry at the journalists or so-called journalists, or let's just call them hosts, I guess, because they don't act like journalists, who don't do their job, who don't press the issue, who let these guys get up there and run whatever they want to say because they're afraid that if they challenge somebody like a Trump or Ron DeSantis or somebody like that, they won't get access to them later. That's not your job as a journalist, to be some type of sniveling coward who's only concerned about ratings or not becoming some type of social media post. You're supposed to get up there and do your job. As the great Joe Madison said, your next question is supposed to be based on the last answer. You don't just let people run with their talking points. And I'll see people like Ron DeSantis or like Morning Joe, or I'll see this person on CNN and the like, and they just talk. They pivot back to whatever it is that they want to talk about with no follow-up questions. And I honestly believe, Roland, that if we had more people who did like what you do or like what Jim DeFeed did here, some of these candidates would not be able to rise to the levels that they have been because they would have been embarrassed out of being able to assume their positions. But that is the problem now. We have these people, got these platforms, and I'll be quite honest also, this is one of the challenges I have with these politicians who are very selective about the black host or black targeted media that they engage in. People know that if they go on like the Breakfast Club or something like that, they're either not going to get hardball questions or there's not a great deal of institutional knowledge there to be able to really be able to push back. And so we have to be and it's not about dissing anybody. It's about, like you said, basic journalistic principles and challenging people on things that they are outright lying about. Nobody should look at that as a diss or a slam. It's about doing your job. And in this day and age with AI and deep fakes and fake robocalls and the like, there's more misinformation and disinformation than facts. So journalists should use this as a prime opportunity right now to dig down deeper into doing their job and exposing many of these politicians and others types of folks for the liars that they are. So thank you, Jim. But thank you also, Roland, because interview after interview, you don't let anybody get away with anything. And that's why I think some of these guys are terrified of coming on your show, because here, facts matter.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And Julian, I get some of these people, they stop me and they like, man, and they say send me emails and they post, man, I wish you wouldn't interrupt people so much. Guess what? I didn't just interrupt Renita. I didn't just interrupt Omakongo. You know why? Because they didn't lie. See, what they want is they want me to let folk come on here and lie, and then the liars go, you're not going to let me finish. Yes, you're correct. I'm not going to let you finish telling a lie. And that's what Jim DeFeed, he nailed. And she was like, can't we just accentuate the positive? What was that song? It was a song, right? She's like, why can't you just accentuate the positive? Why you bring all that stuff up? That was something. That's what she was saying. She was literally like, I've done some good stuff. You can't talk about the good stuff I've done? That's $40 million. No, boo. Let's talk about where that $40 million came from.
First of all, she was like one of the stupidest people that I've seen on air in a very long time. Literally. For a number of reasons. First of all, I'm not trying to be a politician. Yes, the F you are. I mean, seriously, I'm not trying to be a politician. Where did that come from? You were there because you're a politician. You're telling lies because you're a politician. So to say, I'm not trying to be a politician, what you trying to be? Annie Oakley? Alfalfa? Anyway, let me not go there. So first of all, she was out of order, out of line, out of control. Secondly, the brother did a great job in nailing her on everything. And that's really important that he did. But what's even more important, Roland, is that you have lifted her up and said you is a bloody liar, because that's what she is. The third thing that I think is really important here is the extent to which the Biden administration has not jumped on stuff like this. I mean, what we know about the Biden administration, frankly, is that they have not done their work in publicizing what they've done. When this person claimed that she did $40 million, which, number one, she did not do, but when she claimed she did it, there should have been a Biden response that said, this came from this legislation that came from this administration. I am disturbed that the Biden administration does not do enough to jump on these liars and call them on their nonsense. If he did that, and I don't know why they don't, but if he did that, what we would have is a different kind of narrative. What you have is these people running around saying, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. And you don't have the president who ought to, or his team ought to be saying, excuse me, Miss Thing, but you didn't do spit. And this is why it happened. So the interviewer was on point. You don't get very many who are, many on CNN and other places, let these people spin their nonsense, and it's wrong. He did not let her spin her nonsense, but she talked over him and she tried to be cute. Can you give me credit? Oh, hell no. Credit for what? Credit for lying? You know, so, but secondly, the administration, if they want to win in 2024, have to do a much better job in putting their stuff out there. Every time one of these lies comes out, somebody, it doesn't have to be the president, but there's a surrogate in Florida who should say, oh, hell no. And that's the bottom line is, when will the Biden administration step up, step out, and make it clear and make it plain that these people are taking credit for work he did that they voted against?
Well, again, they got to get far more aggressive calling these people out. And look, they are going to lie. That's what they do. But they got to get gut checked. All right, folks, hold tight 1 second and go into a break. We'll be back. Roland Martin Unfiltered right here in the Black Star Network.
Grow your business or career with Grow with Google's wide range of online courses, digital training, and tools. Gain in-demand job skills with flexible online training programs designed to put you on the fast track to jobs in high-growth fields. No experience is necessary. Learn at your own pace. Complete the online certificate program on your own terms. Stand out to employers, get on a path to in-demand jobs, and connect with top employers who are currently hiring. Take one professional career certificate program or all 6. Earn a Google Career Certificate to prepare for a job in a high-growth field like data analytics, project management, UX design, cybersecurity, and more. All professional career certificate programs must be completed by December 31st, 2024. Scan the QR code to complete the application. There are 1,000 scholarships available. Grow with Google and J. Hood and Associates. Be job ready and qualify for in-demand jobs.
We just have one of the oldest cultures that's desperately needed for mutual salvation. That's the consciousness. We have the keys in our roots to save mankind. We get to see the condition of other countries, other oceans, other cultures. And if we believe in God, a lot of us do, He's telling us if you don't get rid of that stuff that makes somebody superior or inferior and work together for the mutual salvation, everybody's gone.
Hey, yo, what's up? This is Mr. Dalvin right here. What's up? This is KC. Sitting here representing the Jodeci. That's Jodeci. Right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Some of the nation's top historians have filed an amicus brief with the Supreme Court standing with Colorado in their decision to remove Donald Trump from their presidential ballot. The brief argues that the Constitution's insurrection clause applies to the former president. The filing was signed by 25 decorated historians whose expertise include the Civil War, Reconstruction, the Southern Redemption, and American history more broadly, including politics, voting, and elections. They cite a professional interest for helping the Supreme Court decide whether a specific provision of the 14th Amendment applies to a president and whether such implementation would require additional action from Congress by appropriately analyzing probative historical evidence. Now, in Illinois, a retired Republican judge has said the courts need to decide whether Donald Trump should be removed from the ballot. He did say, though, that Trump was indeed involved in an insurrection and should be stricken from the ballot there in Illinois. Look, the Supreme Court is going to deal with this on Congo, but the bottom line is this here. This nonsense that somehow the insurrection, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, the insurrection clause, doesn't apply to somebody who's the president. It's nuts when you actually read it. This isn't confusing. It's very clear. But these folks now want to sit here and let's try to figure something out. Nope. And these strict constructionists, these originalists, this should be easy for them to decide.
Yeah, and these strict, constructionists and people who follow the letter of the Constitution and the like had no problem overturning, and who believe in standing on precedent had no problem getting rid of Roe v. Wade, right? I mean, these guys are liars, straight up and down. They have no problem with what they're doing in certain areas as it relates to voting rights and the like. When it comes to this 14th Amendment, look, we either have laws or we don't. We're either a nation based on the Constitution or we're not. And when it comes to Donald Trump, I feel, Roland, quite honestly, that this Supreme Court, they're basically going to try to find some kind of off-ramp where they don't have to really make this decision. They're going to try to pick it apart in a way that they're basically having a hands-off approach. This is a country that talks, and these are guys who talk about Republicans, states' rights, and the like. Well, this is what Colorado wants to do, but all of a sudden, no, we can't do that. And then on top of that, they're saying it's anti-democratic. And I believe, as Judge Michael Ludick says, the super conservative judge who's the hero of so many people that Mike Pence called and he was trying to figure out what to do with the election and the like. He was like, this is the most democratic thing possible to decide that he can't be on the ballot. I mean, it's a self-eliminating thing when you engage in an insurrection. And then you have people who are saying, well, it's not like it's, hundreds of thousands of people died and so on and so forth. They want to compare any act of insurrection to the Civil War. There could be many ways to engage in an insurrection. And so, I mean, we're talking about the Confederate flag flying through our Capitol for the first time ever. It doesn't get more treacherous than that. And lastly, people like Nikki Haley and all the others who are saying, let the people decide. Let me be somebody who engaged in some type of insurrection or some other type of criminal act and tries to run for office, and let them, I'll be damned if they won't try to destroy me in every way, shape, or form and have me incarcerated before there's an election. The hypocrisy is real. And every single day they're saying, let the people decide, but they wouldn't let them decide for any other person. And Nikki Haley, who's going to end up supporting Trump once she dumps out anyway, she's a hypocrite as well. Trump should not be on the ballot. He engaged in insurrection. This court has no credibility whatsoever, and unfortunately, they're going to try to find an off-ramp, so it's going to have to come down to the people, but he has no business on any ballot.
Julian?
I fully agree with Omar Congo. He's absolutely right. He has no business on any ballot. Not only that, I mean, all of the harm that he has done to our nation and to our Constitution is just sitting there, and people don't want to make him accountable. But here's the bottom line. The people who say, let the people decide, it's a small, maybe it's not small, but it's a group of people who really want him to be reelected. And they want him to be the president again. And how could he? First of all, now he's got an $83 million judgment in addition to a $5 million judgment with E. Jean Carroll. In addition, Letitia James has got him on the crosshairs. That may take him up to $400 million. We're going to find out that this blazing billionaire really ain't all that. He's a bumbling bully, and that's what we're going to see. And so there's that. And then we look further at it and look at what has been going on. And we look at that, what we see is somebody who has used his bullying status. He's bullied people out of $200, $300, $400. And now he's got $83 million that he has to pay. All I have to say is But bottom line, Omokongo is totally right. I couldn't have spoken it better myself when I say that what we have going on here is someone who is wrong, but wrong, beyond wrong, and should not be on a ballot. Now, the people who, the let the people decide team are going to say, well, he should be on there and let them vote him out. I'm not so sure about it. He's not qualified to be on a ballot based on the 14th Amendment. That's all. And suddenly the courts and others are being very creative to say, well, yes. And I'm saying, hell no. He shouldn't be on a ballot. And many will balk at it, and he will probably end up on a ballot. But I hope that America has a good enough sense to say, if he's on the ballot, reject this nonsense, reject this nonsense, reject this nonsense.
Rita?
This entire conversation about whether or not Trump violated the 14th Amendment is a complete exercise in coddling white supremacy. And I say that because it's clear that not only was Trump a part of an insurrection, he actually led the insurrection, which was the largest attack we've ever seen on our Capitol. It was the largest demonstration that we've ever seen as it relates to trying to overthrow the government. And so to even have this conversation, this debate back and forth about whether or not he, violated the 14th Amendment is completely insane, because no part of me believes that had President Obama ever even talked about overthrowing the government, they would have had him arrested immediately and figured out the rest later. And so the twists and turns that majority white people are trying to do in this country to say that he should be allowed on the ballot is nothing more than coddling white supremacy. And last, I'll say this: no elected official should be allowed to be on a ballot for public office if you have been a part of trying to overthrow the government, because that's essentially your job, is to work to uphold the processes and systems that we have all, pretty much decided that we're going to use, instead of letting our decisions be made by who can win fights in the street. I mean, you have to have some sort of way to make decisions as a government, some sort of way to divide up resources. And that for us is called democracy. Trump tried to get rid of that. And so there's no part of me that believes that he should be on the ballot. He should be immediately disqualified across the country. And if he were anything other than a white man, he would have already been disqualified.
All right then, folks. All right, going to a break. We'll be right back on the Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. We look at the history of emancipation around the world, including right here in the United States, the so-called end of slavery. Trust me, it's a history lesson that bears no resemblance to what you learned in school. Professor Chris Manjapra, author, scholar, amazing teacher, joins us to talk about his latest book, Black Ghost of Empire: The Death of Slavery and the Failure of Emancipation. He explains why the end of slavery was no end at all, but instead a collection of laws and policies designed to preserve the status quo of racial oppression.
The real problem is that the problems that slavery invented have continued over time. And what reparations are really about is saying, how do we really transform society, right? And stop racial violence, which is so endemic.
What we need to do about it on the next installment of The Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, the wealth gap has literally not changed in over 50 years, according to the Federal Reserve. On the next Get Wealthy, I'm excited to chat with Jim Castleberry, CEO of Known Holdings. They have created a platform, an ecosystem to bring resources to Blacks and people of color so they can scale their business.
Even though we've had several examples of African Americans and other people of color being able to be successful, we still aren't seeing the mass level of us being lifted up.
That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Hi, I am Tommy Davidson. I play Oscar on Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. I don't play Sammy, but I could. Or I don't play Obama, but I could. I don't do Stallone, but I could do all that. And I am here with Roland Martin on Unfiltered.
Vice President Kamala Harris was in San Jose, California today, continuing her Fight for Reproductive Freedom tour. During her presentation, she was talking about the importance of reproductive rights, but she also was interrupted by protesters demanding a ceasefire between Israelis and Palestinians in the Gaza Strip.
Good afternoon. So here we are, January of 2024. Where just over a year ago, the highest court in our land, the Court of Thurgood and RBG, took a constitutional right that had been recognized from the people of America, from the women of America. And thereafter, in state after state, we have seen extremists, so-called leaders, propose and pass laws that would criminalize healthcare providers, some of them literally legislating prison for life, punishing women, making no exception even for rape or incest. You know, I will tell you, let me say, in a real democracy, everyone has a right to have their voice heard. The President and I are working on that every single day. So back to what we were discussing. We are looking at a situation. We're looking at a situation in our country where there are people who are literally suffering, most silently suffering because of what has been proposed and or passed in states across our country. Part of why I'm doing this tour is because I think that more people, not the people here, but more people who may not be here and are not as attuned to what's happening in real time must understand. You know, for years, so many of us, we were in marches, we've talked, we have fought, let's keep Roe alive, we have to protect Roe, and we all did. Most of us for our entire adult lives, it was intact. We knew it was precious and we need to defend it. We knew it was precious, but we kind of thought it would always be there. And now we have seen that it has been taken, and all over our country, Dr. Gupta started to talk about that. The number of people who are suffering, we're all grown in here, so I'm gonna just speak fact, because fact must be told. Women are having miscarriages in toilets in our country. I've met women who were in the midst of a miscarriage, who went to an emergency room to seek health care and were rejected by the healthcare professionals there who were afraid they would be jailed for providing women in distress health care. I met a woman who literally developed sepsis, and it was not until she developed sepsis that she received the health care that she needed. We have a lot of very important issues that we all must discuss, but the topic for this discussion is what we need to do to fight back against laws that are criminalizing healthcare providers and making women suffer in our country. Yes, we are going to win this election. Yes, we will. So, there are a lot of big issues impacting our world right now, which evoke rightly very, very strong emotions and fears and anger and tears and concerns. The topic for today here is the topic of what has happened in our country after the Dobbs decision, which took away the right of people to make decisions about their own body and has resulted in extreme harm. And so I'm going to get back to the issue because it's an important one, and we should not be distracted from any important issue. So what we're talking about, what we're looking at in these states, for example, that have made no exception even for rape or incest. Now, many of you, I grew up in California in the Bay Area. Many of you know my career. So you know that I started my career as a prosecutor. What you may not know is one of the biggest reasons why. When I was in high school, one of my closest friends, one of my best friends, I learned was being molested by her stepfather. And when I learned, I said to her, you have to come and stay with us. I called my mother, and my mother said, of course she does, and she came to stay with us. And I decided at a very early age, I wanted to do everything I could to protect women and children from harm. And I specialized for a long time in my career as a prosecutor, including when I was working as AG, on crimes affecting women and children. No exception even for rape or incest. Let's understand what that means. It means that these so-called leaders are saying to a survivor of a crime of violence to their body, a violation to their body, that they don't have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That's immoral. This is what's happening around our country. So when we talk about the layers of harm, be it harm to our democracy, harm to our Constitution, harm to our freedoms and our rights, and we then understand the real harm that also exists every day for individuals who are being denied the health care they need. It's extraordinary, and for that reason, I know we all are approaching this with a sense, yes, of empathy and understanding, but also profound commitment, with a sense of urgency to do something about it, to end the pain and the suffering that is happening right now in real time in our country.
In addition to these protesters, 1,000 black clergy are applying pressure to the Biden-Harris administration to also call for a ceasefire. The New York Times dropped their story on Sunday, talking about these pastors and making the point about it is a moral argument that the administration must do more when it comes to the more than 26,000 Palestinians who have been killed. What we're seeing here, Julian, we're seeing this pressure come from different areas. And the Biden-Harris administration has to understand this is going to play a role in the 2024 election. Now, granted, it's early. This is still the end of January. But the bottom line is this here. As this thing continues, politically, this hurts them, and it's hard to make the moral argument when people are being killed. Palestinians are dying. And again, the ceasefire is all about making sure that people on either side do not die.
You know, Roland, it's such a conundrum for many. Nobody wants the orange man back in office, but at the same time, they want Biden to be more responsive. And he has not been. And this has come up again and again and again. The piece of the Times is great. Many of the people are people that I know. Dr. Barbara Williams Skinner was quoted as Hale, Dr. Hale, Reverend Hale was quoted, sister friends of long standing. We are all concerned about the extraordinarily oppressive response of Israel to the Palestinians. 20-some thousand people killed. People walking around with white flags, Roland, saying that that's a universal sign of surrender. And even though they're surrendering, grandmas with the grandchild surrendering, and you have them still being shot. There is no rational reason for this. And President Biden has dropped the ball by not condemning this more strongly. And that's the bottom line. He has to say, stop this nonsense. And he won't, because the United States relationship with Israel is shrouded in guilt. It's shrouded in grief. And yet, let's be clear. Nobody, and this is an obligatory line that we all run. Nobody appreciates what happened on October 7th. Okay. Now we run the obligatory line. Now let's say something else. These people are in other people's land. They push the people out their land. What do they think that people are going to do? They're going to react. They're going to respond. They're going to be brutal and unkind. But to respond to a factor of 20, is extreme. And to deal with these people is extreme. Black pastors, like Cynthia Hale said in the New York Times piece, she said, they're oppressed and we're oppressed. And that's the connection, is that we all understand oppression. And so no matter what happens going forward, President Biden is risking the support of young people, of young Black people, of people who feel oppressed and wonder why our country, there have been articles that talk about the weapons that Israel is using. We sold them to them. So we are
right. So here's the deal that you're facing here, Renita. You have a president that you have a country that is a staunch ally of the United States. You also have a reality that Israel, this attack on Israel, has been called their 9/11. And they are a sovereign nation. So there's a belief by some that, President Biden could just simply say, Netanyahu, stop. But he can't. And so you have this delicate negotiation that is going on. And so it comes to the point of leverage. Now, critics say, hey, fine, guess what? You don't have to sell them or deliver them weapons. And so you have a balancing act that is going on. Your thoughts on, again, the continuing pressure, but also now these 1,000 Black clergy now demanding this ceasefire?
Well, I'm glad to see this clergy demanding a ceasefire, because for so long, and Democrats have a tendency to do this, by the way, every election cycle, but for so long, people have just said, it's just the young people who are saying they won't vote, or it's just a small group of folks who are saying that they are not going to vote, or that they are very bothered but what looks like an ongoing attempted genocide. And so now we're seeing that there are diverse voices that are saying, no, this is an actual problem for everyone. Everyone sees this. And although we have not spoken up until this point, we now are speaking to say that we need to have a ceasefire. Now, to your point, the issue that people are having with the Biden administration is not only whatever commitments and that they had previously made to support Israel, but the issue that Biden's got very specifically is, for the last 4 years, we have been told that he can't do very much to move the agenda, his agenda, the things that he campaigned on. But here we see for Israel, you go around Congress twice to help Israel. And so why couldn't this have been something where you say, hey, listen, my hands are tied. And so it calls into question how much energy the president puts into what he feels he must absolutely get done, which in this case is making sure that he gives Israel the resources it needs to do this onslaught, versus just saying on everything else, oh, I can't, that's too complicated, I'm not going to be able to handle that, that's just too much. And so I think that what the Biden administration needs to do is not only stand up and say they want a ceasefire, because they've already said to Israel things like they want a two-state solution and other things, which Israel said, hey, you need to mind your business. We're not, for any of that. The Biden administration needs to also stop resourcing this genocide. That is the biggest thing that they really need to do. And I think that, right, and this is the last thing I'll say, a lot of folks are seeing protesters pop up at every Biden campaign event, and they're very shocked by people protesting as the vice president, for example, is trying to talk about reproductive freedom, and the president, will be different places and protesters will show up and protest. That is a part of being an elected official. You know that anywhere you go, you have the capability for any event that you do to get protested by anybody who doesn't like what you are advancing. So all of that is normal. But what I will say is there's more visibility for this, because this is not something that is just going to go away, even though it is early. As far as, things are concerned, as far as an election year, this is not something that's just going to go away, and largely because there is not a lot on the other side. People already had a lot of disappointment with the way that things were going with the administration. And so this is just the final, oh my gosh, some of this stuff is indefensible.
Well, again, Congo, the reality is for it to go away is you've got to have a conclusion to this war, or you've got to have a ceasefire. You've had administration officials who previously have said that a ceasefire right now is not doable. Well, the question is, if not right now, then when?
The abortion issue is supposed to be the number one issue for Democrats going into 2024, because they've won on all of these ballot measures in Republican states and so on and so forth. And these protests and this activism is taking away from that. This is Biden's number one issues. The Biden administration, if they really care about dignity and hope and all the things they talk about, they have to start pushing for a ceasefire. And that's going to help them get back on track with their message at these events, because we're talking about this early. But come on, Roland, you think these students who are protesting, they're going to have a lot more time in the summer right before the election. So it's only going to get worse. And so I've heard something a little bit that the State Department and the Biden administration talked a little bit, a hint about they're looking at how to reconsider their weapons program with Israel. That kind of came out today. That little snippet of dropping that they put out, that's a response to these protests. That's a response to this pressure. And so people have to keep up the energy. Look, at one of these rallies, Roland, they called him Genocide Joe. I mean, if that type of stuff sticks, and so the United States, Biden, they have to figure out a way, because the other thing we have to be mindful of is that they can get on a call with people, with government, Netanyahu, and all of these guys in Israel every single day. Who are they talking to regularly in the Islamic community? Over there or over here? In the civil rights community, people like Reverend Al Sharpton and others have President Biden's attention. Who is that person for the Muslim community, or those people for the Muslim community? I don't think he's talking to Rashida Tlaib, who the House censored. So these are people who are supporting the rights of Palestinians, do not feel like they have a voice with the Biden administration. And if he was more proactive in giving people who are supportive of Palestinian freedom and a Palestinian state an active, visible voice, you would not see as much of these protests. And so the Biden administration has a lot to do to get a fix on this, starting to look at how they handle the military relationship with Israel in terms of sending them these weapons. One Israeli administrator said, or a government official said, we can't do what we're doing without the United States support. If we don't get it from them, we're toast. But lastly, Roland, the thing that hasn't been mentioned today, because we've talked about it before, is now the United States is starting to get drawn into it physically, as it relates to, we just lost 3 troops in Jordan with that drone strike, and several others were injured with traumatic brain injuries and the like. And so now the United States is being drawn into this regional conflict, and he's got to get a hold on it.
Hold tight 1 second because we come back. The names of those 3 U.S. service members have been released. All 3 are from Georgia, and we'll share those with you. When we come back, Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network. Be sure to support us in what we do by joining our Bring the Funk fan club. Send your check and money order to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
I'm Faraji Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture. Weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it.
This is about covering us.
Invest in black-owned media.
Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks.
We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible.
Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
What's good, y'all? This is Doug E. Fresh, and you're watching my brother Roland Martin Unfiltered as we go a little something like this. Hit it. It's real.
Folks, the United States military has released the name of 3 service members who were killed in a drone attack in Jordan. Those troops are Sergeant William Jerome Rivers, 46 years old, Specialist Kennedy Layton Sanders, 24 years old, and Specialist Brianna Alexandria Moffitt. She is 23 years old. The U.S. has blamed various groups, Iranian-backed groups, for this attack. The Pentagon said it carried the footprints of Hezbollah. Wall Street Journal has an article saying that U.S. defense forces did not respond to the drone attack because they mistook this drone as an American drone. There have been people who have been critical of the Biden-Harris administration, saying they caused these deaths. Donald Trump has been quite vocal about it as well. But if you look at the number of people, service members who died during the tenure of of Donald Trump, it's a lot, much higher than that have died under Biden-Harris. And so, again, these soldiers, we mourn them. Their families, of course, have been notified. And again, all 3 were from an Army Reserve unit based in Fort Moore, out of Georgia. And so the investigation continues. In addition to 3 deaths, more than 40 military personnel were injured when the drone hit the housing unit where they were actually staying as well. And the troops were in their sleeping quarters when the drone struck with little to no warning. So certainly condolences go out to the families of those 3 soldiers. Folks, in addition to that news as well, we continue to see to focus on the region of the country, that region of the world. And what you're seeing right now, are some suggesting that the United States is involving itself in a much broader battle because of how we've been responding to Iranian-backed militias or various militias as well. Now, what people have to understand, and I think a lot of times people forget this, Renita, is that we've got U.S. troops all around the world. We've got AFRICOM. We've got folks that are on different continents across the world. And so this notion that the United States is involved in a war is wrong, but folks just need to realize that, yes, this is not the Iranian war, it's not Afghanistan, but we've got troops stationed everywhere, and we are the targets of different terror groups.
Well, that's true that we do have troops stationed everywhere, but it's also true that that's why for at least the last 5 to 8 years that I can remember, people have been consistently saying, bring our troops home. And so like these 3 people who were just killed, and my heart goes out to them, obviously affecting families here in Georgia, they, were on a counterterrorism mission when they were killed. And so people, the voice of, voters, the sentiment in the country has been to have less military involvement around the world and to bring our troops home. The reason why people are really fearing that we're about to be drawn into a physical contact, and some say that we have already been drawn into a physical contact, is because not only do you have these ongoing counterterrorism missions like the 3 soldiers were killed in, but you also see that we are bombing Yemen. And the conflict is growing larger and larger, and we are being more and more a part of it, standing in support of Israel. And so this is drawing us into a physical contact. And I can tell you that a larger regional war is something that is extremely unpopular. And I hate to bring everything back to politics and voting, but a lot of the show, Roland, a lot of your show, we really do talk about voting a lot and civic engagement. But the reality is that this has been an ongoing thing that has become very unpopular on both the left and the right. That Trump campaigned pretty consistently about the United States not getting into so many military conflicts and not entering so many wars, even though, as you mentioned, the number of service personnel who was killed under his administration was more. The reality is on the Democrat side, we're still seeing things like now bombing Yemen because of what they were doing with the ships that were trying to go through their territory. And we're now seeing this incident. And so both parties cannot be the same. We cannot have Democrats essentially talking and saying and doing the same things that the Republicans were doing 20 years ago.
But here's the thing, Omakongo, and I understand the concept of bring our troops home, but part of the national defense is being deployed in various places where there are folks who are planning attacks on the United States, but also the United States has interest in other countries. So the idea that we should bring all of our troops home, that's just unrealistic when you look at the foreign policy of this country.
I've done over the last maybe 15 years or so, I've partnered with the State Department on several projects, and some of these projects have been designed with going into some of these countries and preventing the growth of child soldiers, preventing the growth of people who would join armies that would maybe become extremists and, hurt local as well as our interests here in the United States. And some of these countries that I've gone to, Niger, Central African Republic, Mali, and some of these places, I've had to be escorted, but, in armored vehicles, military vehicles to go and do some of the work in some of these spaces with the young people. My point in bringing this up is that in these situations, one of the things I've noticed each time is that the countries where the United States have stronger relations are countries where they engage the public outside of military operations. So when they're engaged in civil service activities, when they're involved in community building activities, those are the types of activities that do more as it relates to counterterrorism operations than responding to things with physical might. And I've been in countries where the interactions between the U.S. military and the people on the ground has not been solid. And I can see the animosity and the tensions there. And so we have to understand that this whole idea of diplomacy, it's not either or, it's both and. But the first aspect of it has to be the humanitarian side. It has to be the engagement. It has to be let us work and build up this community. And under Trump, that was gone. I was in Rwanda when Donald Trump brought up his shithole country comments, and members of the U.S. embassy had to be brought in to answer to the Rwandan government about what was going on. Trump didn't give a damn about those types of things, and the Biden administration is doing a better job of it, but not good enough. It needs to do more if it wants, especially now as people are looking at the United States giving Netanyahu basically a bear hug and walking side by side with Israel. That's not resonating well with many other countries around the world, not just black and brown countries, even some of the European nations as well. And so again, the Biden administration is drawing itself into problems that it does not directly want to be a part of, but it's about to be. So this is a really good time for them to really start to look at what's happening, because look, I didn't even know that these 3 soldiers were black. So that's going to also affect his support here. So support's being challenged here in the United States, and is also being challenged around the world for things that Biden did not directly start, but he has the power to directly change the course if he would actually start to listen to those of us who are calling for a more moral mindset in dealing with these conflicts.
Julian?
I'm just saying, because Obakongo is raising some really important issues. We put ourselves out there as a world leader. We're the leader of the world. And what does that really mean? If there are, if we call ourselves the champions of democracy, but number one, we don't have it at home. And number two, we only champion it episodically abroad. When we look at what's happening in Israel, with Netanyahu, we're allowing him to get away with, frankly, more than murder, almost genocide. And it's because of our blind loyalty to Israel. I understand the loyalty, but at the same time, I understand that many, many people have been pained by this loyalty, and President Biden will have to answer for it eventually. But it's more than Israel and Netanyahu. It's really about us calling ourselves a world leader, and we're not leading. What we're doing is doing pragmatic politics that don't have any moral certainty and any moral foundation. And I think that that's really important. So as we move into, it's not just about the election. I mean, if the orange man is elected, it will be a tragedy. But at the same time, if President Biden is reelected, it will be a tragedy if he does not change his ways. What really we're looking at here, when we talk about the possibility of global conflict, I fear. I was talking to my 37-year-old nephew, and he said, I fear that we're at the brink of World War III. In other words, the fact that there's so much going on that will involve the United States. 3 black people from Georgia eviscerated because of what's going on. What, why is our Congressional Black Caucus silent? Why are so many silent? What should we be saying about the direction of our nation? We have a lot of work to do, and we're not going to get it done by November. But by November, President Biden has the opportunity.
But the Black Caucus is not silent. I mean, you literally have members that have been very vocal about demanding a ceasefire. So the Black Caucus is not
Roland, but not members, but not the crew. They often come out with a unified statement. Have they done this time? You may know. You know more.
Probably don't have a unified. You probably don't have a unified statement because you don't have them all agreeing. So you're not going to see a unified statement if you have different members with different perspectives on this. You have some members of the Congressional Black Caucus, Richie Torres, who is extremely pro-Israel, has been very vocal. Then you've got folks like Rashida Tlaib, you got Cori Bush, you got Ayanna Pressley, you got others, and so you got members with different perspectives. That's likely why you haven't seen a unified voice.
At the same time, what I'm saying is that we're moving into a space where we're going to have a global war. What are we saying? The 3 people that were just killed were African American people. I'm not saying it could have been white people, and it was all wrong. But what are we saying? I mean, and what, is there a community response? You're right. They're all over the place. They're not all on the same page. But who gets on the same page to confront this injustice?
Well, we'll see if this continuing pressure on President Biden actually causes there to be a change. All right. I'll be right back. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shooting.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture, weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
Me, Sherry Shepard, and you know what you're watching, Roland Martin Unfiltered.
It's been almost a year since Kamisha Douglas disappeared from her Boys Town, Nebraska home. The 15-year-old, who was last seen on February 19, 2023, is 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighs 140 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Anyone with information about Kamisha Douglas is urged to call the Boys Town, Nebraska Police Department at 402-498-1170, 402-498-1170. Folks, in Wichita, Kansas, police there are looking for the individuals who cut down the Jackie Robinson statue at a local park, only leaving the bronze shoes. Police say the theft, which was caught on surveillance video, happened on Wednesday. A truck is driving around the area where the statue is located just before midnight. Later, a few people are seen walking around the area. The suspects approach the statue and remove it from the base. The truck then re-enters the scene and backs up to the statue. The suspects were then seen loading the statue into the back of the truck before it took off just before 12:20 a.m. The damage is estimated at $75,000. If you have any information about the stolen statue, you can call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-268-4407, 316-268-4407. So, my goodness, folks out here just snatching black statues on Congo.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. Like, what's the plan here, right? Because you got two things. You can either think people who are going to sell it, try to sell it. I don't know, people are going to try to buy a damaged statue, or you got these racist folks out there who are going to try to defame it in some way, shape, or form. I remember I was speaking at a school once, and they suspended a kid because, he took a cardboard cutout of Obama and he hung it, with a noose, right? So we always have to make room for these types of projects as well. But I don't really know where to go with this. I'm hoping that there's more cameras out there that will get out there and find these individuals, because it's very concerning. But in any way, shape, or form, regardless of who did it, it's another Black great, having their statue destroyed or defaced. I'm thinking about the Emmett Till memorials, that regardless of what people do, whatever people put up, they're constantly attacking them, and they have to add more barriers, to protect it from the haters and the racists out there. And it's just really sad and unfortunate, because in this day and age, when people are applauding us taking down Confederate statues and the like, I'm hoping that this isn't the sign of some type of, backlash, or we should say, white lash going against statues of Black people that are up there, that are up as well, with some type of false equivalency. And so I'm really interested to see who did this and why, and also making sure that they're punished to the fullest extent of the law, because it's disgraceful and despicable.
I mean, look, it just makes no sense. It's crazy. And last thing, Renita, you want to do is have to slap, put a cage around the dadgum statue. But hopefully these folks are caught, and the Jackie Robinson statue is returned.
Right. It makes absolutely no sense. And I think that we will see some sort of resolution to this soon. The reason why I say that is because I did read that city officials have already alerted the salvage yards that if they see this come in, anybody trying to sell it or do anything with it, to let authorities know. And so I do think that we'll see some sort of resolution to this, because now that everybody is aware that this happened and people are on the lookout, what could anyone possibly do with this? It's going to be hard to sell it because everyone's looking, for this statue. Everybody's aware of what happened. So I think we'll see some resolution soon. And I suspect that once we find out who took it and why they took it, we probably will still be in the dark as to this not making any sense even after these folks are caught.
Pretty bad there, but it's just par for the course for what it means being Black in America, Julianne.
This is called erasure. It's called attempting to take our presence away from us. This makes no sense whatsoever, as both Rita and Obakongo have said, no sense whatsoever. But basically what does make sense is that we're sitting in a place of extreme anti-Blackness, where that statue was an affront to somebody. And our existence is an affront to somebody. And that's why, Roland, in your book, with the book about crazy white people, White Fear, they cannot stand our excellence. And that Jackie Robinson was nothing more than excellence. And our excellence refutes all of their nonsense. But it doesn't make any sense, except for in the context of a Ron D. Satan, who has just said that sociology is not a required class in state-supported Florida universities, which there's so many things that rain down on anti-Blackness. I hope they find the people. They will. You can't get rid of a big old statue like that. I hope they find them. I hope they're punished to the full extent of the law. But more than that, I hope that we use this as a teachable moment. Who could be against the amazing legacy of a Black man who basically shattered every barrier? Well, who could be against it? Folks who did not think we ever had the capability of doing that. I am repulsed, and I think we all are, about this. But at the same time, let's make this a teachable moment.
All right, folks, right now, though, we're going to go to a break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. We look at the history of emancipation around the world, including right here in the United States, the so-called end of slavery. Trust me, it's a history lesson that bears no resemblance to what you learned in school. Professor Chris Manjapra, author, scholar, amazing teacher, joins us to talk about his latest book, Black Ghost of Empire: The Death of Slavery and the Failure of Emancipation. He explains why the end of slavery was no end at all, but instead a collection of laws and policies designed to preserve the status quo of racial oppression.
The real problem is that the problems that slavery invented have continued over time. And what reparations are really about is saying, how do we really transform society, right? And stop racial violence, which is so endemic.
What we need to do about it on the next installment of The Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
On the next A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, we're going to be talking about common sense. We think that people have it, know how to use it, but it is something that people often have to learn. The truth is, most of us are not born with it, and we need to teach common sense, embrace it, and give it to those who need it most, our kids.
So I always tell teachers to listen out to what conversations the students are having about what they're getting from social media, and then let's get ahead of it and have the appropriate conversations with them.
On the next A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, here at Black Star Network.
Grow your business or career with Grow with Google's wide range of online courses, digital training, and tools. Gain in-demand job skills with flexible online training programs designed to put you on the fast track to jobs in high-growth fields. No experience is necessary. Learn at your own pace. Complete the online certificate program on your own terms. Stand out to employers, get on a path to in-demand jobs, and connect with top employers who are currently hiring. Take one professional career certificate program or all 6. Earn a Google Career Certificate to prepare for a job in a high-growth field like data analytics, project management, UX design, cybersecurity, and more. All professional career certificate programs must be completed by December 31st, 2024. Scan the QR code to complete the application. There are 1,000 scholarships available. Grow with Google and J. Hood and Associates. Be job ready and qualify for in-demand jobs.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kim Coles.
Hey, I'm Donnie Simpson.
Yo, it's your man Dion Cole from Blackish, and you watch
Roland Martin, Unfiltered.
What is going on in America? We are facing a calamity. Individuals are losing their minds. They are angry. They are upset. They are beside themselves. They don't know what to do. They are troubled. These individuals cannot sleep. They cannot eat. They are literally losing their minds. They are under severe pressure and stress. High blood pressure is simply just going through the roof. What am I talking about? Largely white men in MAGA acting a fool because Taylor Swift attends NFL games. Y'all, have you followed these nutcase people? Even that fool, Vivek, whatever the hell his name is. Oh, the NFL, there's a conspiracy in the NFL to rig the Super Bowl in order for us to see the left-leaning Taylor Swift. Do you know how nutty these people are? How many times do we watch NBA games and they will show a celebrity sitting courtside on the front row? Numerous times. But oh my God, what in the world is going on? Because Taylor Swift. They now are making this thing, y'all, out to be about politics. My goodness, Taylor Swift, and she's gathered these young girls, and they're now registering to vote. And then, my goodness, Travis Kelce, what must we do because he took the vaccine? These people, they are indoctrinating our children. Y'all, I swear these people are nutcases. And this is why you cannot listen at all to these people on the right. Because they complain about everything. Oh, God, I'm not trying to watch an NFL game. And they keep showing. First of all, the NFL isn't showing Taylor Swift. The networks are. It's just stupid. It's just literally dumb. And what this goes to show you, and I'll start with Renita. What it goes to show you, these MAGA people are so insane. They are so out of control that they complain and whine about everything. I mean, everything. This is why Donald Trump got to be defeated. Because you know what? Let's make them crazier. Let's just, again, every time they take a L, it's just another nail in the MAGA coffin. So let's give them more L's in November.
I am not surprised that they are creating a conspiracy theory around why Taylor Swift is at NFL games, because we know that they are a huge fan, the MAGA crowd, of QAnon and conspiracy theories in general. I mean, this is partially what led them to do January 6th. This is also what led them to be a part of unmasking Pizzagate, as they called it. So these people love conspiracy, so I'm not surprised that they've now gotten one in relation to Taylor Swift. But the thing that I think about this is, you know, year after year, we're being told that NFL is losing support, losing money. Less and less people are fans of professional football. Every year we continue to see these reports talking about the decline of the NFL. Isn't Taylor Swift being at the NFL, at these games, good for the NFL to bring more attention and bring more support for the NFL? So I don't understand why people who support the NFL are anybody about
anybody saying the NFL is declining, hold on, Nita. Anybody saying the NFL is declining, they're nuts because the ratings keep going up. So, and they're the most profitable sports league. So, anybody saying that, nah, that's a lie. Go ahead.
They're saying that they're saying that generations that are coming along, like younger folks, are not interested in the NFL. So that's why they're saying that support for it is declining, because you're not getting a lot of young.
No, it's just a lie. It's just a lie. It's just a lie. I mean, the numbers prove it. It's just a lie.
What I'll say to sum this up is exactly what Michael Harriot said about this today on Twitter, which is, I can't name one song that Taylor Swift sings, but I also know that I don't need to lose my mind because she showed up at an NFL game. So I don't understand why they're making a big deal out of this.
They're making a big deal out of this, Amakongo, because when Taylor Swift went on social media and told people to register to vote, nearly 160,000 people did. This is the real deal. They are deathly afraid of her energizing young voters. And this, Amakongo, for me, is why I would absolutely love to see Taylor Swift and Beyonce and every major entertainer using their voices and platforms, urging folks to vote. She's also anti-Donald Trump. Look, a story came out the other day where Snoop Dogg says, I got nothing but love for Donald Trump. He's been highly critical in the past. He was thankful that Trump pardoned Michael Harris, one of the co-founders of Death Row Records. But again, that's what they're afraid of. They are afraid that Taylor Swift and her army of Swifties, that she is going to organize and mobilize them to vote in a massive way. That's why they're losing their minds.
And yes, I do, and I do know one Taylor Swift song, "Shake It Off," because I took my kids to see Sing, and that was one of the movie songs in it. So yes, and you're absolutely right. And it's not just Taylor Swift; it's the Barbie phenomenon, that got played in the Oscar nods, and that type of empowerment narrative as well. What I appreciate about Taylor Swift is that she is somebody who understands her power. And she understands her power to be able to galvanize people. And I'm hoping that, more of that will be done as we get closer to the election. Like you said, registering, thousands of people to vote just by an Instagram post and the like, being critical of Trump in the past. And I'm hoping that she does more of that and more celebrities follow her lead. What bothers me about people like, the Snoops of the world is that they may look at one individual act of something that was done for them and apply it to all of us as if we're supposed to bow down and be grateful. And that's really problematic. We need more sophisticated leadership from our so-called celebrities and leaders, right? Too many people are looking at them as heroes. But lastly, I will say, Ejan Carroll, she was talking about her fear of going up and testifying with Trump in the room. She couldn't sleep. It was the first time she confronted him. And she said when she finally got to the court and he was there, she said, "Today, I realized he was nothing. He has nothing. He's the emperor with no clothes." These guys have nothing else to run on but hate and ignorance and misogyny. That's why they don't have a alternative to Obamacare. They never did. They don't have alternative to anything but dissension. And so that's why they look for new faces to attack. That's why they drag celebrities into it, because they have no real policy plan. And so for anything except for deny people access to whatever it is that will help them feel more whole and more equal. So I applaud Taylor Swift for what she's doing. Keep showing her, keep using the power. And you're right, Roland. They need to experience, the Republicans, they need to experience profound defeat in 2024. It's not going to chase them all away, but it'll chase enough of them away that maybe some of those who are remaining will want to take over their party and bring it back to what it used to be, which we can disagree with the party all the time, but they at least believe that we should have a constitutional democracy, as flawed as it is. We need to bring it back to that, and we have the power to do that. And I hope, more, as I said, more of these celebrities follow what Taylor Swift has been talking about.
That's what it boils down to. It is the political power. It is how they are able to leverage it. And I just really do. I really hope, Julian, that many of these celebrities, we saw lots of them when Obama was running in 2008 and re-election in 2012. I would hope these same celebrities will be as active, as involved, as engaged, and because we need today's Dick Gregory's, today's Harry Belafonte's, today's Sidney Poitier, today's Diane Carroll's to be engaged in this, because it's not just, hey, I can go about and just keep doing my thing and keep making my money. No, there's some fundamental issues that are at play here. And so I love to see their meltdown over Taylor Swift. And I say, Taylor Swift, keep driving them crazy and keep registering your fans, because guess what? Those 17-year-old young girls who support you, many of them will be 18 come November.
There you go. And, demographic shifts require demographically shifting thinking. In other words, as you said, we're looking at Taylor Swift's Swifties. We're looking at other people. But we're also looking at the nonsense that is spewing from these Republicans. I'm not anti-Republican, although you probably have to cut my fingers off to vote for one. But that's not the point. Here's the point. Do we want a democracy, or do we want something else? What we're seeing is that there are many, like Taylor Swift, and shout out to her, and many others who believe in democracy. They don't necessarily believe in everything that we believe in, but they believe in democracy. And so what's going to happen as we move ahead and as we think about this 2024 election? Demographic shifts may mean that people will shift their alignments. People will do things differently. And we hope that they will. We hope that people will look at what's going on. And so these, insane people, you're the expert on insane white people, but these insane people, they're mad because Taylor Swift showed up and gave her boyfriend a kiss and said a couple of things. Give me a bloody break. What she's doing is, like we all say, just do you, boo. And so she's doing her thing. And what we need to do is make sure that others do their thing. You call the roll with Harry Belafonte and so many others. But my question would be to the younger generation, where are the young rappers, artists, activists who are coming out and saying, register to vote, do your thing? Unfortunately, too many young people are sick of the political process. But that's because they don't know the political process. We've gotten rid of civics in education, so people don't know. People are mad at Biden because he didn't do da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, but he can't do it by himself. He needs a Congress. So if we want things to change, we need a Biden to have a Congress that can help him, a Senate that can help him. The orange man is going to fall on immigration and say, oh, he couldn't do it. He could do it if the Congress would cooperate. So that's a story that we need to tell. We need to beat that drum and say, come on now, we cannot have change unless we have an aligned Congress.
All right, folks, over the weekend, the Super Bowl was set. Baltimore lost to Kansas City, and the Detroit Lions, they lost to San Francisco 49ers. And didn't I call that on Friday? Didn't I say that it likely was going to be 49ers and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? I think I called that. Well, guess what? There are two people who had a split household. So Jamel Hill, who's from Detroit, loves Detroit, but she grew up a San Francisco 49ers fan. And her husband, he is a rabid Detroit Lions fan. Well, they placed a bet on the game. He lost, so therefore, he had to do this video.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined here at this press conference by Ian Wallace, who has by Wood Wallace, who has a statement that he would like to read in the wake of the excellent comeback by the San Francisco 49ers, who beat the Detroit Lions.
Hello, everybody. I come before you a humble man because my team, the Detroit Lions, lost to my wife's team, the excellent and resilient San Francisco 49ers. If you're wondering how I got here, let me explain. From the time it was decided that the 49ers and the Lions were going to play each other for the NFC Championship, I've been terrorizing my lovely wife with childish antics. I taunted her team and disrespected her 49ers merchandise. What's this word?
Apologize.
Apologize to the 49er faithful for my immature behavior. I disrespected one of the great franchises in NFL history. I apologize to Brock Purdy for calling him Jimmy. What's that? How you say that?
Garoppolo.
Garoppolo's twin. That was insulting. And since the Lions are quarterback, come on now, by the Dollar General, Ryan Gosling, I should have not clowned such an excellent quarterback. In closing, I would like to add that my wife is much wiser than me. I'll one day learn to be as gracious as my wife, so that I may avoid this kind of public humiliation. Going forward, I will not ridicule her anymore for being a lifelong 49er fan. While the Lions are at home eating a wish sandwich, if appetizers.
And what if appetizers?
I'll be rooting for the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Go Niners. Not true.
Wood Wallace will not be accepting questions at this time. Please allow him to have his privacy as he tries to get through this difficult moment. Thank you.
Wow.
So messed up.
Wow. First of all, Uncle Congo, I am thankful that I despise the Dallas Cowboys. So does my wife. We both support Houston teams. So there's no split allegiance there whatsoever. But damn, bruh.
Jemele Hill she's the best. She's just awesome. And wow, that's gonna be played everywhere. When he said, how do you say this? Apologize. I mean, I know the Lions folks, they gotta truly be struggling right now. I mean, and particularly the way that it was lost. But Mr. Wallace is a man of his word, and Jemele put him on blast. And nobody really watches sports in my house with the exception of me, so I don't have to worry about any loyalty splits. Whoever I may say to root for, folks are just going to be like whatever. So, yeah, now he's got to root for the 49ers, and, Jemele's knowledge shines once again. More power to you, sis.
And I just got this note from Jemele, Renita. It was his idea to do the bet.
Oh.
She said, had the 49ers lost, I would have to do the same thing. So he was so arrogant and cocky, thinking his Lions were going to beat the 49ers. They blew a 17-point lead. And you deserve to have to do that. If that was the bet, and guess what? She has now posted that on her Instagram page, on her Twitter page, all over. It's going to get picked up, by the Shade Room, Baller Alert, Jasmine Brand. Lord have mercy. Renita?
Listen, Roland, I'm glad you explained the clip, because I'm one of those people that has not watched the NFL in forever, and you could not pay me to watch an NFL game. So thank you for explaining the clip. Jemele is very funny.
Lord. Julian, go ahead with your comment.
Well, as a native San Franciscan, I'm always happy when the 49ers win. Although I am not a sports person, I'm almost with Renita. You got to pay me to watch. But they were talking much smack. And Sister Girl got hers, and Brother Man, just take your tail to the cottage or wherever you go when you shamed, because you shamed. I'm just laughing. I'm totally laughing. You go, Jemele, and Brother Man, whatever.
I mean, he's sitting here. I mean, again, and look. When you step out there, you rep your team. You got to do what you got to do. And in fact, you know what? Okay, so to the control room, do this here. I want y'all to pull up. This tweet I sent. So I just sent y'all a tweet that Jemele posted last week. So I just want to show y'all the energy that her husband was giving on January 22nd. That's 7 days ago. So if y'all could play the video of the tweet I just posted, I want y'all. So I think y'all might have a better understanding. Y'all might have a better understanding of why Jemele was really looking forward to this, even though it was tough for her because she posted a video yesterday. She was sweating for a long time because it was going downhill for the 49ers when they came back. So y'all have that tweet ready? Play that video. All right, they're going to have the video soon. Y'all see the video, then y'all go ahead and play it.
We going to the Super Bowl, baby. I just got home. We a house divided. Jemele originally from Detroit, but she a San Francisco fan, so this weak ass bullshit. Look at this shit she got it. Let me let her know what time it is right off top, because I ain't playing. House divided, baby, all week. Let her know that I ain't playing. This how I'm starting off. I just came in the house. She gonna try to say, hey, babe, kiss me. No, don't kiss me. No, we ain't on the same team or nothing. You already know what time it is, Jemele. You know what time it is. This shit going in the fucking garbage. What are you playing?
What are you doing?
Hey, put that in the garbage.
Why you
Put it in the can. Put it in the can. That's how y'all garbage. Y'all trash. We about to pop y'all next week.
Please, everyone, remember and like this video because...
Robert!
I'm just saying.
What is this?
Hey, somebody who took
What is
us to the
that?
Super Bowl.
What is that?
Y'all wouldn't
What is
know
that?
nothing
What is
about
that?
it. Y'all wouldn't know nothing about it.
This Brock Purdy twin brother right here.
That was kind of aggressive, Omakongo.
Yeah, he was just putting it all out there. Wow. I mean, that makes the video, his apology video, it makes it like doubly sweet. You know what I mean? He was extremely confident, just like so many other out there in the line. Eminem, all of them cats were just extremely confident. I mean, they hadn't been in this spot in almost 30 years or something like that. So we get the idea of being hyped, but you also just kind of got to be realistic. And, you can have your little challenges, but you gotta be humble at the same time. So I know I'm about to go and share that video of the apology as well, because, brother had it coming. He was a little bit too hardcore with it. And now he's got to eat some lion for dinner because he ain't got nothing else right now.
Oh, yeah. She's Renita, she said he been terrorizing her all week. And she's like, he gonna be eating a whole lot of crow.
He should probably do side by side of that video plus her video and re-release both so that people have all the evidence together.
That's a good one.
Do y'all have the photo I just sent y'all? So let me know y'all have it up. Julian, I'm telling you, he put a jersey in the trash.
And he's now sitting in the trash.
That's called you might get cut.
Well, now he's sitting in the trash trying to figure out how to get out of it. I mean, this is hell-blucking hilarious to have this brother talking all this spit to this sister, and then she prevails. But the Niners always, I'm telling you, I haven't been to a Super Bowl probably in 15 years. I used to go all the time. But the Niners are the bomb. When they in there, they produce. And so they were 17 points down, whatever. And he just needed to know better. And so now he got to do better because he got clowned. He got clowned. I'm just laughing. I'm sitting here laughing. You go, Jamel. And brother, step.
Well, one of the other reasons why I wanted to go ahead and play the extended, because I was only going to play just the first video that Jamel posted, but I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to rub it in further because see, this is what happens when you pledge this youth group. Jamel. See, the reason Jamel's husband don't know how to act right, cause he just crossed over to that little youth group, Omega Psi Phi. So they ain't the smartest people. They ain't the brightest bulb in a dark room. So anybody knows. Okay, this right here why Omegas ain't that bright. Okay, all right. So the first no, they ain't bright. So I know she love them, but I mean, so first of all, Wood, you got 9,090 followers. Okay. You got 9,090 followers. Jamel got 841,000 on Instagram. You got 9,000. So that was kind of crazy to make that bet because everybody now about to see all your videos, and so including his Lion brothers. And so, I decided to add a little extra flavor to this. Just to go ahead and, because anytime I get a smacking Omega, I'm happy.
You wrong, Roland. You wrong. You wrong.
Anytime I get the smacking Omega, I'm happy. I'm wrong, but I'm so right. All right, y'all. So I'm here in Stuart, Florida, earlier the Floridian Resort. Reggie Jackson had his annual golf tournament, Mr. October, supporting the Mr. October Foundation. And so I did an interview with him, Acura officials. I'm going to have that later for you. But check this out, y'all. So the winner of the golf tournament, this foul. This is foul. So Houston rapper Travis Scott, all right, his team shot a 54. Y'all, they had Brooks Koepka on their team. The same Brooks Koepka who's won several major golf championships. First of all, they should have been disqualified from actually winning the tournament. They won with a 54. They won with a 54. And when the tournament was over, Travis came to collect his award. And so I decided to hit him with a few questions in the news conference.
In a team game, that's what you got to do. You got to find your balance. You got to find your strengths. You know what I mean? There's no such thing as weaknesses.
So what specifically did you do?
You know what I mean? All you got to do is make par a couple holes. And when you got people like Brooks, you got people like Kyle, you got people like Reggie, Dave on your back end. Like
I'm sorry, Brooks?
Reggie Saunders, and we got Reggie Jackson just making sure the commish holding it down from the top end.
I'm sorry, you said Brooks?
Koepka.
Oh, so you had a damn PGA Pro major winner.
Yeah, no, but we call him Koepka on this side.
Oh, okay.
We call him Koepka.
Okay.
Because through these woods, that's all we do. We chipping and knocking shit down on this side.
Contribution from everywhere.
And you know, I'm overly thankful, man. You know, I don't really receive a lot of awards, and today to go out there and win them, it's a good heartfelt win and a good team win. So we're gonna take this down for everybody here.
This your first golf trophy?
This is my first golf trophy.
We won one last year.
We did? No. We won that one 2 years ago. Second place on.
Oh, y'all took it home, but you didn't win it.
But it wasn't that one. You dig what I'm saying? And today we got this one. And this one right here is the one that really matters right here. Yeah, I'm about to go celebrate with this. A couple cacti, some Sikoro, you know what I mean? Anybody's a killer of the choice. Just meet me at the bar. Reggie Jackson, thank you for having everybody coming to this right here. From Miss October Foundation. Separate line and good competing, man. Anything that can be done for a cause is always A1 in our book. So
you're coming back next year to defend?
Oh yeah, we come back next year to defend, and the year after that, and the year after that. You know what I'm saying? Once you get one, you gotta hold on to it forever. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna break this down on ESPN. We got the analysts and all the replay videos. We're gonna have that for y'all tomorrow. Yeah, we love y'all, man. Peace and good night. Picture you and Reggie.
Y'all, so that was a lot of fun. About $900,000 was raised for the Mr. October Foundation. So we had a great time, and so they're certainly doing a lot of great educational things. It was Hall of Famers all over the golf course today. Jeff Bagwell, Mike Schmidt, George Brett, Johnny Bench, Ken Griffey Jr., Lawrence Taylor, Dr. J, Thurman Thomas, Jim Kelly, Andre Dawson, Ozzie Smith, my man Warren Moon from H-Town. Then, of course, they had, Nick Saban was here as well. Had other greats, 50 Cent, Slim Thug, Bun B, as well as Dave Chappelle. So we had a great time. So I'll be posting a lot of those photos on social media for y'all to check out. And let me give a last shout out here, folks. So over the weekend, Saturday I was in Toledo. University of Toledo, speaking at a conference there. I had a fabulous time speaking to those young men and women. It was I'm going to get the actual name right for y'all, so just give me a second. It was the 40th annual Toledo Excel Conference for Aspiring Minority Youth. More than 1,400 people were there. I gave a keynote speech, and I also moderated a Q&A with Black Thought about his new book. So they're going to be sending me the video. We're going to be live streaming that. We're restreaming that on the Black Start Network. And so we look forward to doing that. And so this is, they gave me this hoodie. They gave me a hat as well, but this is the hoodie they gave me. So I decided to rock it for today's show. So I appreciate that. The alpha showed up and showed out there, as we always do. And so it was great. And so let me shout out David Young, who is the director of the Toledo Excel and Special Projects. And, of course, he's an alpha man. You got Excel in the name, you know some alphas involved. And would not omegas. All right, y'all. That's it for me. Renita, Omakongo, Julian, I appreciate y'all being on today's panel. Folks, I am back in studio tomorrow, so look forward to seeing you in the Black Star Network studios. Folks, do me a favor. Support us in what we do. It's so many great things that we do. And also, first of all, let me thank the folks at Honda Acura for bringing me in. Like I say, we'll be chatting with them. And I look forward to having them as a partner right in the Black Star Network. So I'm trying to work that thing out. And so be sure to support us in what we do, folks. We had, again, we are doing the things that other people simply are not doing. They're not talking about. They're not sharing these things with you. And so that's why we do what we do. And so please, our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing on average $50 each. It'll raise $1 million to offset what we do. We'll also, of course, trying to go after these advertising dollars. These agencies are not cooperating at all, giving us a bunch of BS excuses. One of them, it'll be 3 years in May since we start meeting with them, and not a single dime has come our way in those 3 years. And this agency represents billions of dollars of various companies. And so if they don't get a move on it, I'm going to publicly call them out, and then I'm going to name the companies that they actually are responsible for, so those companies know how that agency is treating black-owned media. So I'm just letting y'all know that. All right, folks, so send your check and money order to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Be sure to watch our 24-hour streaming channel. We are available on Amazon News, so go to Amazon Fire. You can also say, Alexa, play news from the Black Star Network. You can check us out on Plex TV, Amazon Freebie, and Amazon Prime Video. And be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Available at bookstores nationwide, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Target, Books A Million. Download the audio version on Audible. Folks, that's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Holla! Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?